But just like I see a lot of the benefit in having some anal retentive program point out that I'm not crossing all my T's and dotting my I's as I should be on there, even if I really think it's not necessary, there's some value to having some standards on the first-party level also to make sure that people don't put something out that they're not thinking is going to be an issue, but really 20 million gamers are going to be pissed off about. So even on that side of things, I've come around a little bit to the side of the console gaming. But we'll see how things go. I mean, there's a wheel here going on where everything was consoles, and then all the cool stuff was on PCs. Now it's bridging over. It is completely possible that the uptake of the importance of social networking and the other interactions that you want to take on there may grow the PC side of things back into the dominant force. And certainly when you look at a lot of things like massively multiplayer games, which you could say is, that is one of the pillars of the entire gaming experience that is owned by the PC space.
But also, I mean, for me, the PC is still the place where you have the opportunity for, a small group of guys to do something pioneering without any interference from anybody else, without any third party sort of looking over and vetting it. I mean, I think it would be terrible to have obviously the PC to go away. I'm hoping that it actually continues to grow strong and grow stronger and stronger, because I mean the thing is, if it wasn't for the PC, I don't think we would be where we are today. I mean, if we actually had to go,
Nintendo turned us down for it.
Yeah, I mean, if we had to bring Nintendo down and say, here's our nice digs, here's our apartment, and will you publish our game? I think they'd walk away from it until we turned our dogs into mice and turned our blood to green, and which we wouldn't have done at the point, So, I don't know. I mean, I think the PC is extremely important to the gaming industry, and still, I would say, the vast majority of the guys are big PC fans. Of course, a lot of guys at id are big, just multiplayer fans, and from my perspective, although I think playing multiplayer games on the console is great, I think really where you really get into the true experience of competitive multiplayer is on the PC.
Yeah, and it's also worth I think people talk about how the decline of the PC gaming industry, when they're looking at AAA action titles on there, it's like, yes, there are less important, significant titles there. They move less units, but I bet there's actually far more hours spent playing PC games now than ever before, but a lot of them may be web games and MMOs and things that aren't, there's a sadness that your particular favorite brand of games may have migrated to a somewhat different platform on there, but PC gaming as a whole is still extremely vibrant, and that aspect about it's great to hear the success stories of people that put together a web game and get millions of people visiting that and, turn that into, there's the cottage industries there are a wonderful thing, that it's not all the giant corporatized mass media pushes that we have on the cross-platform AAA titles.
I think it's safe to say that as long as there's id, there will be PC gaming.
We'll be here. We're not going anywhere.
Great stuff. Thanks, guys.
All right, we have time for one more question, and we're going to have to make it a little bit quick.
Hi, my name's Kitty. My question's actually for you, John. Last year, I had the head of NVIDIA was going to escort me to your room to get your autograph, but you'd left for your son's birthday. I was wondering, all of your accomplishments, all of your achievements, Doom was my step into first-person shooters, so influential. Do you think your son's going to follow in your footsteps at all?
It really has been a very wonderful experience having kids, and it's made me look at a lot of things. I mean, everyone that's a parent knows this, that you look at the world differently when you have your children there. And on the topic of gaming here, it really did invigorate me over the last few years, where there would be times where I would go long periods without really playing a lot of video games. I work on them all day long, but if I got home, I would read a book or something. But seeing it through the eyes of my son as he grows up and sees the magic of gaming, the fact that the most exciting thing in the world, given a choice of any of the activities that he'd want to do, he would like to play video games, and seeing that sparkle and that sense, which all of us had at some point and may have been dimmed a little bit over time, that's been a rebirth for me in many ways to look at that. So most of the games that I do play now they're younger focused games that I can play with my son, but I always have loved the Mario games. That was instrumental to certainly the founding of the Ed with the Commander Keen series. But just seeing the love of that has been very, very powerful for me. Speaking as a parent, my son is smart as a whip. I'm really happy to see him, reading 3 or 4 grade levels above his age and doing complex math problems in his head and all that. And I push him towards wanting to do all this. He says, his teacher going around asking everyone what they want to do when they grow up. My son's response was, "I want to build robots and become a billionaire." And so when my wife heard that, she's like, "Good answer, Ryan."
All right, we have time for one more. If you hurry, make it quick.
Hi, I'm Brian. I'm a longtime Quakecon staffer. I'd really quickly like to thank you guys for continuing to support the event and the community. So thank you for that. What's everybody's favorite Quakecon moment?
So, well, first, I'd like to thank you and all the other Quakecon volunteers.
Yes, absolutely.
I mean, a lot of people do not appreciate the incredible amount of work that goes into putting on a Quakecon. I know for the couple years that my wife Anna was managing the process, just seeing how ragged she was run, trying to keep everything together here, and the fact that we have so many people that are volunteering their time, that speaks very well to the community that we've got here, and I really am appreciative of all of that. So, I mean, in terms of the Quakecon, memories, it's not even the thing that stuck with me the most, just because of the nature of it. On one of the early Quakecons, somebody made little pewter keychain things, and I carried that around for a decade until finally the little top of that broke off, and it fell off and became a Quake coin rather than a keychain there. And, of course, that would mean that every day I'm pulling something out of my pocket that would remind me of the efforts of the people at Quakecon. And some of those physical artifacts, I think, have been, very powerful. Some of the tournament trophies and everything have been amazingly cool at some of those aspects.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's, we make games, but without something like Quakecon, we'd really have not a strong connection to the guys who play them and the girls who play them. And, this is a great opportunity to come out and talk to people who love our games. I mean, we spend a huge amount of time, put a lot of passion into them, and it's great to see that back. Certainly for the guys who spend so much of their time bringing Quakecon together, huge amount of appreciation for that, and all the people that show up. It's hard to kind of break it out into one moment, the thing that sort of popped into my head, and it may not be the best thing, but one year I was here, and we were just walking through the courtyard, and there was, guys talking about games, and I sat down talking to a few guys about what's their favorite games and things like that. And then out the corner of my eye, there's a group of guys playing, I have no idea what it is. Some guy is dressed in black, he jumps behind a bush, he hides behind the bush. Some other guy comes around, some guy runs around the corner and hides behind a door, and off they go. And then about 30 minutes later, I'm going upstairs to one of the rooms, and then there's 2 people just sitting down in the elevator, and they're just hanging out in the elevator. That's what they're going to do for that day. And I'm like, what are you doing? And we're just hanging out and helping out in the elevator. And I'm like, okay, well, have a good time. So, I mean, I don't know why that sticks in my head, but it's so unique. But I think it's the thing is all these people who play games together, coming from all over the place to get a chance to meet each other and in person and sort of make new friends and reunite with old friends is terrific. That goes for us as well. Again, for most of the people that play our games, we never get a chance to see them and talk to them. So this is great for us, and we certainly do appreciate it.
I also want to mention that Quakecon is something that I bring up every time that little wheel of issues rolls around and the press is asking us about the social effects of our games and, are we concerned about the effects that video games have on people? And, that topic bumped back up around recently. And my answer is always, no, I am not at all concerned about this, where if you meet the people that play video games, these are not the people that you're worried about that are going to go off and be problems in society on here. You need to come to a Quakecon and just see the people that spend lots of time playing these games. This is not the problem that you might imagine it to be.
All right, you guys have 30 seconds each.
Yes, real
Just
quick.
throwing that out there,
My favorite thing about Quakecon is every time I go to Quakecon, for years I just got my ass kicked every time I played deathmatch. So Team Arena, last CTF map, 2-on-2, at in for like 6 months before Quakecon. We practiced every single day.
And Tim actually is sneaky, where he picks the least popular map and trains up on it, so he figures he's got an edge.
Yes.
But it's not Tim's fault that everybody didn't play that map. I mean, we even created our own game out of it, Master of the Universe.
Master of the Universe.
If you can master that map, you're a Master of the Universe.
And then I showed up to Quakecon and I talked to NVIDIA and I said, I'm gonna have a little, come play with us, and if you beat us, you get a video card. And NVIDIA's like, ooh, this is great, And they're like, we better bring a lot of video cards because you guys suck. And I was like, no. It's all right. Yes, and for that day, it was my shining moment where I kicked ass.
Other than us telling them how they have to do their config files, I don't think I ever saw the pro players complain so much about absolutely getting owned by id guys.
It was great.
This is a cheap map. It doesn't play right. Okay, sore loser. Take your $10,000 check and go home. So, I think my genius idea from Quakecon is figure out how I got to manage the Quakecon girls for a while. But I think my favorite moment actually was when we decided to do the keynote and actually do a welcome for it. And the first time I went out on stage like this, and it was just like the audience, and I was basically introducing John. I think we had a couple announcements. I can't even remember if it was at the Adams Mark that we did the first one, or if it was at the Gaylord. But the first time we really did like the first welcome to Quakecon kind of thing, and it was a big event, and everybody came out. We had all these press announcements, and it was just like the feeling of the excitement in that I got to sort of be MC for 15 minutes was the awesomest thing, and getting the feedback from the crowd. And it's really like every year when we come out, I always get so stoked about interacting with the crowd, and I think that we love having everybody from the company come out here, because the energy that we get from the people who show up, from the volunteers to the sponsors to just the attendees and the BYOC, we go back and it's like, we have a bit of what I call post-QuakeCon stress disorder afterwards, where it's just like, oh, QuakeCon's over, I'm so sad. But the energy we take out of the event going forward really charges us all the way into the next year. And that's just a thanks to you guys for coming out every year and showing us the appreciation for the game. And we really do it for you guys.
All right, guys, I got to get these guys out of here, but let's have another round of applause for John, Carmack, Kevin McLeod, Tim Willits, and Todd Hollenshead. Thank you guys so much for being here. Thank you guys.